Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to end the video, and this is a paid request for Fadi. Thank you so much for that. For those interested, requesting any type of videos, whether it be a topic, tier list, ranking, review, re-review, thought streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour, a full playthrough, a reaction, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. So thank you for that. And this is for The Replacements, film that came out in the year 2000. In the year 2000. Directed by Howard Deutch. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Who did The Great Outdoors, Grumpy Earl Men, The Odd Couple 2. I mean, he's not John Hughes or Ivan Reitman, but he's done comedies I enjoy. I think he's makes fun, lighthearted, goofy movies that are entertaining and just fun to watch. And this is a film that I've always enjoyed. Always enjoyed it. And of course, watch it again after Gene Hackman Sally's passed away. And of course, now has come out as to what had happened, which is sad. Apparently, his wife, I forget what disease it was, something that you catch perhaps from rats, like a hantavirus type of thing. She collapsed, died there, and Gene Hackman was so out of it in terms of he had Alzheimer's. He was 95 or so years old. He kind of lightly went, didn't know what was going on, or saw what was going on, and then quickly forgot because he was very ill. And Alzheimer's, when it's that bad, you're not going to remember anything. So, very, very sad, very, very sad state of affairs. And Gene Hackman, one of the great actors. One of the great actors in terms of Enemy of the State and Narrow Margin and Uncommon Valor and Superman 1 and 2 as Lex Luthor and Mississippi Burning and Extreme Measures. A lot of films he did. Unforgiven, that I do like, I do enjoy. Just a great actor. And, of course, he was in The French Connection. I actually like The French Connection 2 more. And it's just a shame. And this, for movie-wise, this was kind of the last remaining years, because a couple years later he would do his last film, Welcome to Mooseport. And around this time he was doing films like, what was it? Behind Enemy Lines, which I liked. And he didn't do a whole lot of films after this. But this one, I always thought it was a fun movie that's pretty lighthearted and has a great cast. That's another thing. This has a great cast. And while the story, yes, the story's generic in terms of it's about the underdogs that no one believes would win, and then lo and behold, they don't get together as a team, as in they don't know how to do the plays right, and they don't get along the best, or they can't quite have that chemistry yet, or they're trying to find themselves, but then eventually they do, and then they start winning games, and then you have the big game at the end, which they do win, to be remembered. And you have the coach that believes in the quarterback, and the quarterback doesn't believe himself because he has a past where things that went wrong. Then you have the lead guy dealing with this girl, in this case the head cheerleader, and this romance that eventually, of course, they'll get together. So yeah, it follows a lot of the cliches. It's not the most original movie. Whether it be films like Major League, stuff like that has done this type of thing before. But it's more about the cast and how the cast work together. I think that's what makes this film work, at least for me. yes, part of me wishes they would have just gone full R-rated. Does I remember? I think it was Dinner for Five, which was a show. I think it was on the Independent Film Channel. Jon Favreau and a few other guests, they were taught. And what was cool was that it'd be random. So it could be like Rob Zombie, but then there's Bruce Campbell, and there's Roger Corman, and then Faison Love, who's in this with Jon Favreau. But then it's like, oh, well, it'd just be a smattering of different people that you wouldn't expect to be in the same room, talk about the entertainment business or other stuff, being a carefree dinner conversation. And I always thought that was really cool. I have the DVD set. I don't know why that's not around to be seen on YouTube. I'm sure people have tried, but I don't know why it would get taken down, because you're not doing anything else with it. There may be a few episodes up, but I don't think all of them are. But I know there was one where Michael Rappaport was bitching about it, because Michael Rappaport bitches about everything. People say I bitch too much. Rappaport more so, and he's like, oh, I can't believe they get that guy still direct, huh? Howard Deutch. Because I guess maybe he was up for the film, but he didn't get it. But it seemed like Faison Love and Jon Favreau liked working on the film, and they liked the director, but Michael Rappaport, baby, he bitches about everything. He was so against Trump, now he's like voted for Trump. He's like, whatever, dude. I will hit. I like Michael Rappaport in terms of, I do think he's funny at times. Sometimes you're like, shut the fuck up, dude. But the reason I brought all that up is because I remember Jon Favreau. It was that, or maybe when he was talking to Burt Reynolds. He was talking about, I did this football movie, and he said the original idea was going to be rated R. Now, whether it was script-wise or in the middle of filming, but like it was meant to be Burt Reynolds, The Longest Yard, like that type of R-rated. Like, actually, I don't know what the rating of Longest Yard is, but it's supposed to be a rougher movie. So in this case, it would have been equivalent of an R. But instead, it's them going, I will survive, dancing, more lighthearted, perhaps a bit more goofy, and more PG-13. So some may argue that the tone of the comedy isn't to their liking. I can understand it to an extent where if I had my choice, I would prefer them just going R-rated. Let them curse however they want to curse, all that other jazz. Because, the box office, this film didn't do well either way. Supposedly it cost around $50 million, and it made, I think, around that worldwide. Like, this did not do well. This was a flop. And Keanu Reeves, this is after The Matrix. Like, after The Matrix, there's The Watcher and this movie, and they both don't do well. So as soon as you got The Matrix hit, then, these films are flopping. But I think this film's a lot better than The Watcher. And there's a whole backstory to The Watcher as well. But the cast, Keanu Reeves, I've always been a fan of his. Yes, I'm one of the few that do not like Point Break, but Bill and Ted 1 and 2, Speed, the Matrix trilogy, yes, to me it's only a trilogy. The John Wick trilogy, yes, again, to me it's only a trilogy. Constantine, Street Teens, there's a lot of films of his I like. He plays Shane Falco, who was in college Sugar Bowl, but things went wrong. They lost by 40-some points. That among others, killed his football career. So he lives on a boat. We're introduced to these other characters, because what happens is there is a strike, a player's strike. And this team, the players don't want to play anymore like the other players in the league. So in order to finish the season, they needed to get replacements. So Jack Warden, much old-time actor, he gets this guy he knows, played by Gene Hackman. Gene goes, I'll do it, but I gotta control it. I picked who I want. And so, okay, well, we only have 4 games, and we need to win 3 of the 4. And if we do so, we get into the playoffs. Oh, okay. And then we see the people that they hire. We got Jon Favreau, who's a SWAT team member. He's a lot of fun. How he gets so into it, and he's just... One of my favorite bits is during a football game, Gene's like, okay, I need that ball. Okay, you go get that ball. Yeah, go get the ball. Get the ball. Yeah, go get the ball. Okay, good. And then when he does, I got the ball. You got the ball for me. I got the ball. You got the ball. Then the whistle goes and they both turn and they're silent. Okay. Just to see Gene Hackman and that type of thing, that was fun. That back and forth, that was funny. Anytime I see red, I go after it like a bull. So like Jon Favreau, he's very energetic. Rip too. I mean, this is his era of being in shape. Not whenever I think of Jon Favreau, I think of he's much bigger, a little bit overweight. But this is when he was definitely in fit shape. Orlando Jones, who was in Evolution with David Duchovny, among other films. Sadly, with him, I feel he should have been bigger. He was on Mad TV, but he was in a series of films that didn't do well. This didn't do well. Evolution didn't do well. He was in that Primeval movie. That didn't do well. Now, granted, I think Primeval sucks. But I mean, still, it didn't do well. Also, was that movie Double Take? Was it Eddie Griffin? I don't think that did well. I mean, at least it didn't spark any momentum at the box office. So that's the thing. You do this series of films in a short amount of time, none of them do well. They stop casting you. Or at least in bigger roles. You might have done like big roles, but again, you just had bad luck. Because again, I think this and Evolution were fun, but they didn't do well either. But he's a guy that he could run very fast, so he'd be a good wide receiver, but it's hard for him to catch stuff. You have Faison Love, which I do... His interviews are hilarious. You may not always agree with what he says, but his interviews with like Vlad TV and stuff, I think they're hilarious. I know people shit on him in the comments under those videos, but I think those interviews are hilarious. Again, I don't have to agree with everything he says, but it just comes off as... Same with those Dinner for Five. He just comes off as very funny. Like he's making fun of Ice Cube with was the Players Club. Need soundtrack. Need work on soundtrack. Again, I find him hilarious. It's always cool to see him. He was in Elf. He was in Maid with Jon Favreau. Because Favreau directed Elf. Him and his brother are like bouncers, and they become people that's going to block for the quarterback. Rhys Ifans, which I recognize him. He was in, I think, Notting Hill. That's one of Julia Roberts' friends. I think he was in that. He's a soccer guy who at times owes money. He's the kicker of the group. I like this sumo guy. He's Japanese. He's actually one of my favorite characters. I liked a lot of his interactions. You don't want this? Get the fuck out of here. I thought some of his interactions with Faison Love were pretty funny. Let's see, I'm trying to remember. Okay, like Keanu Reeves, they got him for the quarterback. Oh, they did a deaf guy to be the tight end. And I recognize this. I'm like, this guy looked so familiar. Why does this guy look familiar? And I looked him up. The guy who plays the deaf guy, he's actually the dad in that Power Rangers reboot movie, 2017, which I actually liked. I actually thought it was decent. But the lead kid, his dad, is this guy. I'm like, oh shit! No wonder I recognize him. Like I wouldn't when I first saw this, that movie wasn't made, so I wouldn't know who the hell it was. But like, oh shit! Okay, that's where he went on to do. Okay. There's also a player who's a religious guy. There's also a player who is a criminal. So you have your team. Also, the assistants for Gene Hackman. One's Art LaFleur. With Sally, he kind of disappears. Like, you see him a little bit in the early stages of the training, but then when they're doing the football stuff, you don't really see Art LaFleur much. Or even the other guy, Gaylord Sartain. Now, Art LaFleur, he was in The Sandlot, which I reviewed not too long ago. He played Babe Ruth in that. He was in the Blob remake as Shawnee Smith's dad. He was in Trancers, Air America, may he rest in peace. And then Gaylord Sartain, he was a guy who's him and the little guy Bobby, and Ernest Goes to Camp, and Ernest Saves Christmas. And also I think the Hey Vern is Ernest TV show. He was also the villain in the Steven Seagal film The Patriot. And I forgot those two guys were in this. Oh, it's those two. And like they had some funny stuff early on. Like Art LaFleur sees the criminal guy. He's like, that's a nice watch. And he's like, oh, it's a fake. Yeah, see, it doesn't work at all. Maybe we should go over here where, so we're not staying by ourselves, away from streaming distance. And then Gaylord Sartain, like some of his stuff was funny early on, like him and Gene Hackman making fun of the way Rhys Ifans says wiry. It's wiry. And then Gaylord's like, wiry, what the shit is that? So you can't see what the fuck is that, because, you only get a certain amount of fucks, but it's like, what the shit is that? Or when he finds out the tight end is deaf and he's trying to explain, well, how do I contact? Well, maybe learn sign language. It's like, oh, that's horse shit. But sadly, they don't do much after that. When they're winning the games, these are two guys that you could give some fun stuff to. They give them nothing to do. So that's a shame watching again. Like, those two should be given a bit more to do. I get it. There's a lot of characters. There's only so much you could do with all these characters. I get it, but at least, one or two scenes in the second half of the movie. But yeah, the way these guys interact with each other, I thought was fun. Whether it be Orlando Jones trying to talk to the criminal and Jon Favreau. And he's like, oh, I remember you. Remember when you did all that stuff? Allegedly when you did that stuff. Allegedly. Yeah, cops are so bad, If I saw a cop here, I would do this and that. And then Jon Favreau's looking and go, I'm a cop. And Orlando's like, I'm going to sit next to the deaf guy. I also like the stuff between the sumo guy and Faison Love, where Faison's like, how do you get fat eating this shit? If you don't like it, get the fuck out. And by the way, I'm not Chinese, I'm Japanese. Yeah, and I got an atlas, bitch. Just the way they interact. I think the cast works well. I think they have good chemistry. And they have fun back and forth. And Keanu Reeves, I thought did fine. I mean, you just say, in a way, he's playing the straight guy in all this. There's not a whole lot of moments for him to use comedy. He is kind of the straight man to carry the drama, or however you want to put it. I don't know if I want to say drama, but But it's fine. You have the stuff where they lose the first game. People mess with them. They get into a bar fight. They're in a jail cell. They do the bit where I will survive. They do a dance bit. I know some people criticize that. They think it's too goofy, too silly. Is that what the film should be? It should be more gritty. For me, though, that didn't bother me. I mean, it's meant to be a form of them getting to know each other, to something to be in common and show that they have a bond together. And I thought it was fun. It was fun when it needed to be lighthearted. That's it. Like, I don't think this movie needed to be this gritty comedy drama bit. It's not any. I mean, I'll watch any given Sunday for football drama, which I love any given Sunday. But I'll watch any given Sunday for that. This, I was fine with it as more lighthearted approach. Won't be everyone's cup of tea. Another bit I liked the bit where these guys who were the football players and they're mad at the replacements, they tipped over Keanu Reeves' vehicle early in the film. Well, after these people have bonded, these assholes do it again. Faison Love and his brother come up and say, "Hey, we're the guards. We protect our quarterback. Is that your car?" "Sure." So Faison Love gets a gun. "Oh, you son of a bitch." "What?" "Oh, son of a bitch. Oh, I'm a son of a bitch. Oh, yeah. I'm a son of a bitch." Shoots the car even more. And I thought the football scene, I thought that was a funny moment. That made me laugh. So this movie made me laugh enough times to be satisfied. The football scenes, they work. They're shot well enough to understand what's going on. There's some nice wide shots that you see Keanu Reeves doing the throw. Apparently, I forget, was it the Baltimore Ravens? I forget. I don't know if this is true, but I remember reading that apparently... Actually, now that I think about it, is it in the trivia? I learned how to spell. During filming, Keanu Reeves was offered a tryout with the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens would eventually go on to win Super Bowl less than 6 months after the film's release. So he was offered a tryout with the Baltimore Ravens. I do remember hearing about that. Okay. Whoa, I didn't realize this. Hold it. I just found something. Is this true? Sorry, I just saw something. I'm like, wait a minute. Wow, really? Is that the case? I know you're wondering what the fuck I'm saying. Just bear with me. Wow. So the guy that plays the criminal is Michael Jace. In 2016, he was convicted of second-degree murder in the killing of his wife and was sentenced to prison for 40 years. I did not know that. Wow. Okay, that talk about fucking method acting. Jesus. I did not realize that was a thing. Wow. I did not realize that was a thing. I did not realize that. That was crazy. Sorry, folks. I just didn't expect that, but you learn something new every day. Learn something new every day. So anyway, sorry about that. I just blew my mind right there. Where the hell was I? I was talking about like the football scenes. I think they're well handled. I understand what's going on. Oh yeah, the Baltimore Ravens, Keanu Reeves. Like he seemed to know what he was doing on the field, so it made it a bit more believable. The songs, I mean, there's a lot of catchy songs. A lot of songs you recognize on the soundtrack, littered with it. Good vibrations. Unbelievable. We can be heroes for just one day. Oh, unbelievable. Oh. And that oh in that song is Andrew Dice Clay. One thing leads to another. They win the next couple games. The asshole quarterback, they dealt with the strike. So Jack Warden says, replace Keanu Reeves with this guy. Gene Hackman doesn't want to do it, but if he does, he gets fired. But when they do it, they play the game. The first half, they're losing because the quarterback doesn't sync with the team, blames everyone for his mistakes. Gene Hackman says we need heart, which is code for Keanu Reeves to get his ass back there. He goes for the second half. And, people get their moments to shine. The religious guy gets his one touchdown that he wanted. The Orlando Jones. Well, earlier there's a bit where they put this shit on him, and I liked his line. This is an elephant jizzed on me. Now, granted, I mean, that is cheating. You put the shit on. But, I mean, again, it's a goofy football movie, so you just go along with it. But then he's able to catch passes later without it. In the other game. But yeah, people get their moments to shine. Oh, and one of the games, one of the funny bits is, I think it's when this football player is treating Keanu Reeves like shit. So he's like, let him through. And he throws a football at the guy's face. It bounces off, and then the sumo guy catches it. I love his reaction, like, holy shit. Holy shit. Move, move, move. And Faison Love's like, I got you, man. Holy shit. Holy shit. Like, he can't understand it, but I thought that was pretty funny. And Gene Hackman. I think Gene Hackman, great to see him as a football coach. Of course, he was a basketball coach, Hoosiers. I know sometime I gotta do a commentary. That was a request. I remember not being gun-ho about Hoosiers, but I'll see, watch it again. But I liked him in this. And he has some good lines. I did like, there's no tomorrow for you. Makes you dangerous people. I mean, you got Gene Hackman as your coach. Hard to go wrong with that. Great caliber actor like that. Definitely believable in the role as well. Maybe he doesn't have as much big dramatic moments compared to like Any Given Sunday's Al Pacino. But again, they're two different films. But still great to see Gene Hackman in that role. Like I said, I don't really have a lot of issues with the film. I mean, other than, yeah, would have been cool to see this R-rated. Would have been cool to see more Art LaFleur and Gaylord Sartain. Sorry, those are tough names for me to say. Would have been nice to see more of them in the film. But again, there's a lot of characters to deal with. I did not the most original plot. I get it, but it's a fun movie. It's a fun, lighthearted movie. Easy to watch. Didn't feel the running time at all. Did a lot of recognizable songs of the day. Not just the day, but years prior put throughout the film. And if you like football movies, football comedies. I mean, I would say I like this more than the Longest Yard remake. I know people may disagree with that, but I have more fun with this than that one. I much prefer this over the Adam Sandler Longest Yard one. That's just me. And while I do like Necessary Roughness, which maybe that's what this reminds me more of, I'd probably say I like this more than Necessary Roughness. Again, I like that film. I'd probably say I like this a bit more because I think it does have a bit more of a caliber cast. Although, I don't mind the cast in that one. But this one, just a little bit step above the cast in that one. Again, not to say that cast is bad, but you got Gene Hackman, you got Jon Favreau, you got Keanu Reeves, and other people, Orlando Jones. I mean, I like Sinbad, but I put these guys a little bit above it. I like Scott Bakula a little bit, same thing. Anyway, I just maybe for folks that'd be a fun double feature: Necessary Roughness and The Replacements. There you go. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. Learn that one of the actors is a fucking murderer. Learn something new every day. Thanks for watching. Take care. Rest in peace. To Gene Hackman, Daily Sartain, Art LaFleur, the wife of that one guy who killed his wife. Jesus. We'll see you guys later. Sorry to end on a sour note, but bye-bye for now. Later.